Oh, that's quite a cool sky. Good morning, folks. How is everybody today? Let's see if we survived the night, shall we? I'm bloody overlaid. I was hoping to be up a bit earlier than this to see if we made it through the night. Oh, I've still got blinking lights. I've got lots of blinking lights. Did we make it through the night with the wee battery pack? Probably not. Where is it? Oh. Did we make it through the night? State of charge. 13% state of charge. 9.8 remaining, and allegedly we're charging with 6.7. So chances are, excuse me, chances are we didn't. So there's another good sign that this is doing exactly what I needed. 1.2 being generated by the SoFar, but 0.3 is going into the battery, so it's taken from the house roof. Exactly what we needed it to do. So did this actually alarm out and cut out? Let me just put you down. Sorry. That's still useless, isn't it? No, wrong one. Systems log. Oh, charge over current protections. Right. I went out yesterday evening to watch Glasgow Tigers Speedway, so I left the old ones in control. So obviously we've been right fully charged yesterday evening and banging off of the rev limiter. Overcharge, 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 overcharge. App open, discharge, phone calibration, boot. So that's me right the way back to booting. I've got overcharge protection, but I haven't got any under voltage cutoffs, or under voltage cutoffs. So the wee battery pack must have made it through the night, which is good. Now I'll go and read the meter. So this is my normal routine. I'll be quiet because the pensioners are asleep. 37. Big fat fucking 0. Yes. Big fucking 0. There's 3, 6. All bags. So this phone's too heavy. 62.3. So that's my daily routine. Checking them. And that's how long the Gumtree specials have been off. They've been off since 25th of March. They were turned off. Big fat 0. Big fat 0. So whilst I'm sat here enjoying my first coffee of the day and the first mocha of the day, just looking at the fault logs on this. Two things. I wish that it would actually log it as a date and time. Instead it logs its operational time. So 12 hours and 20 minutes, you know, cell over voltage, so cell overcharge protection. There's all overcharge protection, all overcharge. So it's obviously, as the battery pack was absolutely banging full when I went out late yesterday afternoon. But what I will bring your attention to, and in my last video, I was having a right panic and a right sweat going through the list of communication protocols and things like that, and it was all showing 0 volts, 0 volts, 0 volts. I bloody did turn on the charge and discharge switches. 22 hours and 44 minutes ago I opened it. 22 hours 44 minutes ago I opened it. A couple of hours of fucking around, poking buttons, sorting out the password, resetting the password. It must have tripped out, and then I've opened it all up again a couple of hours later when I realised my problem, when the penny dropped with an almighty clang, that the thing was turned off. So I'll get her dialed in today. I'll be hanging around today. I'll get her dialed in, and we'll go from there. I'll see what's happening at the top of the battery, of that little battery pack. So that'll be that. The weather could do with brightening up. It's still a bit overcast, but we're still really early. What are we? 10 past. Oh, I'll give up, Gary. 10 past 9. So I'm catching up on the night before with the battery and the meter readings and alike, and also comments on my last videos. I'm really sorry about the shitty camera work and whatever. I'm trying to do this on a shoestring budget and on mobile phones, and my good old camera phone, the Samsung Galaxy S6, won't save videos without corrupting, so I'm stuck on other mobile phones. Right, firstly, to all of my American followers out there, check out their date. Roll them if you got them. So yeah, last night we made it all the way through with the tiny wee battery, and yesterday's consumption was a big fat 0. So that's absolutely brilliant. So this has raised more questions in the comments and some confusion, just as confused as I am. Right. It might have helped if I had released the full install video with the first set of alarms, but I was going through a family crisis and the videos weren't suitable for being aired publicly. All right, so I was trying to catch up in later videos, showing you the faults that this was coming up with, which was the ID070 battery over voltage protection. Try and get you in there. Events list. History of events. So we're on the 420. So we go right back to 24th of March is when I very first powered this up, and they've got the ID070, which is battery over voltage protection. Now that was using the JK BMS, no communication whatsoever. It read the voltage, but would just alarm out with battery over voltage protection, regardless of settings and regardless of state of charge. Big blue inverter, works absolutely brilliantly, no communications whatsoever, just a dumb battery, and it charges and discharges. That one was alarming out with no communications with the big battery shelf. Tried it with big blue turned off, the house was turned off, this was isolated, it was only this, and it's still alarmed out. So thinking that I needed communications, we've upgraded to a smart inverter style BMS with the communications and whatever. I've wired this monstrosity up yesterday. I've fired it up, and in the process of all the startup and going from screen to screen and whatever, I didn't realise that the discharge and charge switches had turned back off. So I was going through the inverter and the BMS on the app, trying out different protocols, and I got to the default lead acid setting on that, and it was still showing 0 volts, and the penny dropped with an almighty clang. I checked the app, and sure enough, the charge and discharge MOSFETs were turned off. As soon as I turned them on, it started working absolutely fine, and it's been working absolutely fine ever since. And that is using the default lead acid settings with manually inputted settings. I've not told any communication protocols yet, but it's working as, you know, lead acid. So why is it behaving as it should with no communications and lead acid with the tiny battery bank, but it was constantly alarming out with the big battery shelf? The only thing I can think of is where these are old and knackered and the internal resistance will be a lot higher. There was some sort of registering thing going on. I do not know. I am confused as the rest of you, but I've made progress with this, and we're getting there. So the first alarm was back. The first alarm was back in the 20-something of March that set up on screen, and they've got there the 20-something of March is when I stopped with the Gumtree specials. I turned them off, and I've been in communication with SoFar ever since. Their customer service is absolutely fucking shit, to be honest with you. Excuse my French. Absolutely bloody terrible. So should there ever be a serious problem with this, then I'll be on my own, really, I would have thought. Because this was just simple technical questions on startup. You know, I just needed technical support, and there was fucking nothing. So it's guesswork, guesswork, guesswork. I need communications and I needed a BMS, but now it is working as I originally intended and hoped it would do, and I'm confused to fuck. I haven't even started figuring out communication protocols yet, the pylon tech and things like that. I tried pylon tech to start off with, and it was showing 0 volts because the bloody thing was turned off. And now I'm lead acid and everything's working. We're quite dreary and overcast outside, but reasonably bright. So this lot is making half a kilowatt at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're charging with nearly 700 watts. Because obviously it'll be taking off whatever the house is using. So it's soaking up what some of the house is generating, the original grid tied solar with the feed-in tariff that we can't touch. And so it's working as it should, working perfectly. The only thing that has changed is I've gone from the big battery shelf and it's saying go away over voltage protection to another BMS with a shitty knackered old LiitoKalla cells, and it's working as intended and as hoped for as a dumb lead acid tickety boo. So one, I'm confused as fuck, and two, if it is just purely something to do with the battery's internal resistance, could I have got away with just using my LiitoKalla and the good old Dali with no communication? That way we would have saved 100 and something quid for that, and a whole lot of ball ache. But I've got to the point now where it is working and it ain't broke, so I don't want to fix it. But I've got to poke it, figure out the communications and get it working nicely with the battery shelf. So once I figure out the communication protocol, will it work as a master and 2 slaves if I just connect this back up to the bus bars and connect that back to the bus bar? But I want to give it a day or so just to reduce my stress levels, because it's got to me, this has really. And with the smaller battery pack, as of this morning, I was able to fully charge it yesterday. Around about late lunchtime, it was fully charged and it was sat there full state of charge when I went out late afternoon, and I was able to check back. So the upper limit of things, I'm able to see what's going on, and whereas with a big battery pack you'll be waiting forever, and the same as with discharging. Like this morning I've come in and it's 9%. You're able to get down to the lower state of charge to see what happens, whereas with the big battery shelf, one of SoFar's technical advice was, I'll try it at a lower state of charge, go down to 48 volts, turn it off, turn it on again, and it's still alarmed out with over voltage protection. When I was doing that, I had the washing machine, tumble dryer going, fan heater going to try and soak it up the last little bit, and it was going for absolutely bloody hours. You just, oh come on, it's got to be flat by now. So, waffle and rant over. I'm as confused as you are, really. We're at lead acid settings. The communication protocols aren't assigned yet, but it's working. The little battery pack, I've seen what happens to it right at the top of the charge. The BMS does its things and works tickety-boo. It does seem to turn the volume right down, and when it's at a high state of charge, the air amps going in were really, really low. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at a very, very low state of charge. I might get to do that today. Don't know. We'll see how it goes. So again, I apologize for the amateur footage and all of that crap and the waffle and the swearing and what have you, and the cluelessness of this setup and the ghastly mess. I mean, how just to live with that shite as a DIYer, ah, dearie me, gives you palpitations. So thanks for putting up with me. Hopefully cleared up what's going on and why I'm still as confused as I am. Look after yourselves. Have a good weekend. Take care. Bye bye for now.